Bonjour! Did you order a tray full of hobbies beyond your academic degree? You did? This is for you. And if you didn't, I guess the guy over there ordered it for you. And the tray looks delicious. But hi everyone, my name is Steph. I am a final year health and medical sciences student. And today I'm talking about some of my favorite things to do beyond my degree. Whilst I'm really super at times passionate about my degree. I love biology. I love the human body. I'm really interested in public health and epidemiology and like health tech and all things related to do with my degree, which is essentially why I chose it. I do have interests and somewhat of a life beyond my degree that sometimes I really struggle to navigate. I remember when I was growing up, we did this thing called GCSEs, which, if you're familiar with the UK system, is essentially a set of exams you do when you're 16. And you have at least 10 different subjects. And academically, I think that was maybe some of the best moments in my life. Firstly, because I didn't do the exams because of COVID, but also because I really enjoyed the classes. I liked rotating between geography and biology and French and sociology and learning different things throughout the day. Now I'm at uni and I feel like my hours are concentrated to my degree. Although we do cover different things, it is all tying back to my degree. And sometimes when I speak to my friends studying politics or philosophy or neuroscience or engineering, I feel like there is so much that I don't know. And obviously, the goal isn't necessarily to know everything. I want to know a little bit about a lot. I thought I'd share with you some of the things that I'm doing this term as a final year student to keep myself, interesting, activated, busy, and learning beyond my degree. Number one is the things that I am physically reading. So the books I currently have that I've taken out from the library or I own. Currently, these are the books I'm consuming this term. Number one is Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I actually got this for Black History Month, which in the UK was in October, which is a sign of how long I've had the book. And the fact that I'm only maybe halfway through is not a good sign. Uni is getting busy, and I try not to be too harsh on myself. But I know that if I invested the amount of time I spend on TikTok into this book, it would have been finished 2 months ago. I really enjoyed it so far. It's a series of letters between a father and a son. Um, Kind of discussing what blackness means and meant in America and kind of, the similarities and differences in their experiences, black men growing up in America. I really want to finish this by the end of the year. I will, in fact. The next one I'm reading is Perseopolis. I don't know if I said that right, but I picked it up in the library on a whim because it's kind of like a cartoon style, like those comic book strips, which I've never seen, especially because it touches quite serious material. It's about the great granddaughter of Iran's last empire and kind of talks about the society that she grows up in and the juxtaposition between, I guess, what life is like in her house versus in what wider society is expected to be like, especially for women. I really like this strip. It's such an easy read. I haven't got too far into it, but like it's so fun. I wish there were more books like this, or I wish even some of my favorite books they would turn into comic strips. I do assume that the books would be quite big though. Next, we have All About Love by Bell Hooks. This book is on my to read list. I haven't actually started reading it. I got it last year Christmas. Considering Christmas again is coming up, it's not a good sign, but I will read it. If not by the end of this year, first quarter of next year, it's on my to read list. Um, I think it's really good reading, All About Love, from what I've heard. There's also another one by Bell Hooks. I think it talks about like black women and feminism. I'll see if I can find the name. But I heard about it on TikTok. It sounds so interesting. I kind of want to read that before I read this. The final book is How AI Ate the World. I know this is within the realms of my degree, but my dissertation is going to be on how like LLMs or like artificial intelligence can be used to improve women's health. And whilst I didn't have to go super into detail about it, I do need to have a really good foundational knowledge. And even beyond my actual dissertation, I think we hear these buzzwords of artificial intelligence and LLMs so like frequently, I don't always know if we know what it means. In terms of digital media, I have my Miji notebook. It's lasted me a good year. I love her a lot. But in terms of digital media, things that I'm reading online, I've been reading a lot of Substack articles like everyone else. Recently, I've been reading more music critics. Like I like this woman called Mimi, the music blogger, I think. She did one on one of my favorite albums of the year, The Boy Who Played the Harp by Dave. And she essentially like was able to write down a lot of the thoughts and emotions I felt from the music, but wasn't quite able to conceptualize. I've read another Substack article as to how to start researching as a hobby, which I guess is kind of what I'm doing now, talking to you guys and sharing, but also like picking a subject every day, every week, every month, and really diving into it. My favorite types of people are quite witty. They just seem to have little pockets of knowledge that they can bounce off other people or other things. Whether that is, philosophy, more things on psychology, science. Even within my degree, there's so much that I don't know about the human body, the brain, and I think they will help me in my life and my personal development as well. And finally, being 21, almost 22, is a very interesting age. And I've been reading a lot of articles about, being in your 20s, that sort of transition and kind of the cost of feeling everything so deeply. Found kind of the honesty that people write with on Substacks. So nice. It's so refreshing. In terms of audiobooks, I've been loving audiobooks a lot recently. I've been trying to do 10,000 steps every day. So audiobooks have been a really good companion, as well as podcasts. I really like the New York Times podcast, The Daily, as well as the TEDx one, How to Be a Better Human, especially for learning about like geopolitics or just what's happening in the world, just having a little bit of knowledge about usually the US, but I guess the rest of the world too. And in terms of audiobooks, currently I'm reading Blessings by Chikwubeka Ibe. For a Nigerian, my pronunciation of Nigerian names is really, really bad. I apologize. It's a story about this boy who's growing up in Nigeria. He got shipped off to boarding school after his father caught him doing something, and it's split between his perspective of growing up in the boarding school and his mother's perspective of longing for her son and trying to almost grow into old age without her son who's been shipped away. And finally, my favorite part is the hobbies that I'm trying beyond my degree. So number one, Sudoku. If you want to, use your brain, if you have ADHD, even if you don't have ADHD, if you feel like you spend too much time online, pick up a Sudoku book. It will humble you in more ways than I ever imagined, but I'm really enjoying it actually. I'm not very far in and I've had this book for a few months, but sometimes I like to go to a cafe, sit down and just do Sudoku. So really interested in cross stitch. It's one of my favorite hobbies that I've started this year. The laptop camera is not doing this justice, but cross stitch is essentially embroidery, but you can only do it in crosses. This is what I made the other day, a little lobster or scorpion, I don't know. And then I'm in the middle of an ice cream and I did this handprint. I think I might try complete this and do a bunch of like different sketchbook styles, but I also want to start doing like little portraits and faces and I want to make gifts for people. I think it would be so beautiful. It's such a calming hobby to do as well. It doesn't force me to necessarily stop watching shows or movies, but I can just do it alongside. I always said cross stitch was my favorite hobby, but this might be my favorite hobby of the year. It's the final one I'm going to talk about, but it's journaling. I've never really been the type of person to have any sort of journaling ecosystem. This maybe 40-page book, 30-page book is my journal for the year. I really like this sort of kind of soft material from Muji. It feels like the ones you used to get at school in your math textbook. And I've decided to dedicate it to everything. So within this, I have everything from lists and I think this is a receipt from a ticket to notes to myself, letters to other people. I started doing a lot of journaling as well. This is my trip to Madrid earlier this year. Kind of collect a bunch of different things from your trips, all the receipts and stuff that you usually would keep, but maybe not look back on. You make this sort of collage with paper and card and it's really, really cool. I really like looking back on things like this. I'm really proud to show it to people as well. And a page after that is a really emotional letter I wrote whilst I was crying. And maybe the list after that is a list of the types of people I find cool. I think everything can be in one notebook. It's all encompassing of who I am. And I feel like it's a pretty good reflection of my brain. One minute I want to be creative. The next minute I'm crying. The next minute I'm making a list that I may never look at again. I think those are some of my favorite things that I've shared. I also really love YouTube. I watch a lot of video essays about random facts. There's even just some like the BBC or like some science ones. I like to have little bites of knowledge if it's when I'm eating breakfast or doing my makeup. Um, but again, I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not or that I'm like doing all of these things consistently because a lot of the time I'm noting. But there are things that I do want to do. And I think maybe you can try some of these things or try some of your own things to keep yourself interested and entertaining and in awe of the world beyond your degree.